Hello and welcome to week 6 of NFL Gamepicks. We got Chris over here, we got Joey. Chris, you want to show the people what you were waving around not too long ago?
I gotta give a little shout out to Duval winning in London, and of course, shout out to the person who donated the towel to the pod, our guy Brett, who had the best week last week. So congratulations, Brett.
Yeah, some of the surprising people who selected the Jacksonville Jaguars were Gonzo, Anthony, and Brett. So congrats to you guys for making probably one of the bigger upset picks of the entire week. Aside from that, Dolphins had a pretty easy win against the New York Giants, and your boy was injured in the process. So I got my foot up right now under the table, and it's ice up, sound like Steve Smith said. But Joey, how about them Packers?
Oh, this is probably the worst game I've seen in a long time. I haven't felt this gutted and this bad about a loss since we lost to the New York Jets last year. I remember leaving the Milwaukee airport just gutted, looking at Packers logos like, man, what are we going to do? And I feel the exact same way today. I don't really know where to go from here. I'm hoping for the best from it, but man, that was just a terrible performance on the offensive side of the ball. Jordan Love probably had his worst game as a pro. I will say the defense did play pretty well. Personnel-wise, as a group, I really don't know what the hell they were doing, especially lining up Preston Smith on top of Devontae Adams and Rudy Ford 10 yards off of Jacoby Myers, who ended up scoring a touchdown. Really disappointing game, really disappointing day to be a Packer fan. Really sad that we don't have a game this week to bounce back on, and we're on a bye. But hopefully we can get some of these injuries settled and try to bounce back.
And then to the biggest surprise of the week.
Surprise for who? I picked my boys. I knew we had it. I knew we had a win in us. I knew it was coming. Bears, a nice 40-20 win, and it wasn't even that close. Washington had some points in garbage time. Kind of wanted to come back a little bit there, but we got the win. But at what cost, dude? Dick Butkus had to die. We had to lose all of our running backs in the process. A lot of our defensive backs and safeties got hurt. We ended the game with a fullback who, honestly, for 8 carries, he got 26 yards. It wasn't that bad. But, yeah, at what cost? We're a little banged up right now. We got a couple guys coming back off IR, but we'll see how it goes this week.
You guys traded away Claypool, too.
Yeah, but who cares? He sucks.
Yeah.
Get him out of town.
Hey, welcome to the squad. He didn't suit up this week for the Dolphins, which wasn't really expected. And the terms of him playing for the Dolphins are not too dire or, we're desperate for him to play. I mean, I think the Dolphins are pretty good there at that spot. Let's get into the standings. We have Yannian on top. After a 10-4 week, he's now 55-23. I'm right behind him with a 52-26 overall record, 8-6 last week. Troy is in third, tied for second with the same overall record, but 9-5 the previous week. And then let's jump down to Christopher.
Whew. I'm kind of idling in the same spot, it seems like. I'm 48-30. I went 9-5 last week. I'm chasing Sean and Brett, who are tied ahead of me at 49-29 apiece, so they're doing pretty good. And then it's down to Joe Bro.
Yeah, I'm at number 10, like a bunch of losers who wear number 10 right now, too, I can think of. Just kidding. I still love you, bud. I'm giving you your crap, though. Yeah, number 10 here on the leaderboard. I went 7-7 last week. Oh, man, I really need to turn it around. I need to stop picking with my heart and start picking with my head here. And stop picking with the food.
Yeah.
I've been trying to say it, but I'm glad you did.
The damn stomach.
For real. All right. And then the worst records of the week, aside from people who may have missed on their picks, were all 6-8. There's about, I want to say, four guys I can count there. So tough week for you guys. But best performance of the week goes to, who is it, Chris?
It's the boy, Brett Blasfield.
Yeah, so Brett kicked us off and got a big week out of especially the Jaguars pick. But good picks all around by him. So congrats to him. All right, let's kick it off. Thursday Night Football. We have the Denver Broncos facing the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm not enthused by this game whatsoever. Denver, I thought they had a chance of beating the Jets last week. And then I totally forgot about the whole Nathaniel Hackett and Sean Payton thing. So that threw everything out the window. I wasn't expecting it to be in that fashion. But they were able to limit Zach Wilson. But Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes is a whole different beast. So I'm going to rock with KC. I think they're the team to beat in the AFC West for sure. In the AFC overall, we might see some teams challenge them. Not saying it's the Dolphins, but I'm saying there's going to be some teams to challenge them this season.
You see what Robert Salah said to Sean Payton?
No.
Stay humble. So
Good.
stay humble, Denver. I'm taking KC. Easy pick here. Let's move on to Joey.
So, yeah, this is probably the easiest game to pick all week. Kansas City is Kansas City. They got Taylor Swift. They got Travis Kelce. They got Patrick Mahomes. They got Andy Reid.
Winning.
Who else is going to show up? I don't even know. What was it? Deadpool and Wolverine were at the game last week, too?
I didn't see that.
Well,
That's
at
awesome.
the Jets game.
Because they were too busy talking about T Swifty. But I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm going to rock with the Swifties on this one. I didn't see her pull up to Minnesota or not, so I don't know if she'll pull up to Arrowhead for this game. I think she's on tour.
There we go. All right, Joey, take us across the pond.
All right, so here we go. We got the Baltimore Ravens going to Nashville, Tennessee to face off against the Titans. And I'm going to rock with the Tennessee Titans here. The Baltimore Ravens have really showed their true colors, especially against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Titans had a decent game last week, but they haven't really looked that great overall. I don't think both of these teams have looked good so far this season, but I'm going to rock with the boys, the Titans.
Well, this game's at 9:30. It's in London.
Oh, shoot. Across the pond, eh? I missed that one.
You missed that one. Like an
totally
airplane that went right over
Well, you
your
know
head.
what?
So.
It might have been more fun if it was in Nashville, but you know what? We are going to London, baby.
London,
Excuse
baby.
me.
Oh, man. Anyways, I think Baltimore would have won that game pretty easily against Pittsburgh if they didn't have like 40 dropped passes. I don't know if you guys watched that game. It was bad by the whole wide receiving core. And they still almost won. Like, they lost because of a late Kenny Pickett touchdown. I'm going to rock with Baltimore in this one in London.
Yeah, I'm also rocking with Baltimore. I think, that loss, I wouldn't say that loss to Pittsburgh was a fluke, but it shows what happens when your guys don't go out there and perform. And that's exactly what happened to the Ravens receivers. They were dropping a bunch of balls. I think it was like 5 drop passes on the day, maybe 6.
1 in the end zone.
Yeah, so, and they got matched up against a really, really tough defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do I think the Titans' defense is the same? I don't think so at all. So I'm going to just keep it moving as we go on to the first game of the 1 o'clock window. We have the Carolina Panthers facing the Miami Dolphins. And, guys, as you can see, we're flying by. So let's go with the Miami Dolphins. I think the Panthers might give the Dolphins a better challenge than the New York Giants did. But even then, I think if they have still Bryce Young in the backfield, they're passing the balls. I think he's going to be getting sacked a lot. You saw what happened last week with Daniel Jones going down so much. I think the same kind of thing happens to Bryce Young. Hopefully he doesn't get a little stinger in his neck like Daniel Jones does. He can probably finish out the whole game. But I'm really interested to actually see Bryce Young play in person because that's going to be something that he's highly criticized, and I want to actually see him play before I actually can dive in on him. But yeah, Miami Dolphins all the way.
Yeah, it's a really easy game to pick. Miami Dolphins are going to kick the crap out of the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young has looked like crap so far this year. Don't really know if the Panthers made the right pick there, but yeah, the Dolphins have looked explosive. Speaking of explosive, one guy on the team who has been is Devon Achane, and he will not be playing for the foreseeable future for a little bit. So if you have Raheem Mostert in your fantasy team like I do, maybe play him because the Panthers suck.
Yeah, I agree. Fins up on this one. Yeah, HN is a huge loss, but you guys weren't like building your offense around him or anything like that. And you didn't really expect him to even be this good, anyways. You guys have a historically so far great offensive team to start the season. I think you're gonna kill them at home. It might be another game like the first one you went to at home,
the
where
Broncos.
you might be chasing a historical point total there. And as far as seeing Young play, you're probably gonna be like, wow, I think I'm bigger than that guy, and that's all I have to say about that.
I'm bigger than him than right here. I know that for sure.
Dude's tiny.
Size-wise, height-wise, I'm not 100% sure. In terms of chasing that historic point record, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Again, unfortunately, especially like after they came so close, I don't think they're ever going to be like, oh, you know what, we should try doing that again, or like if we're close, let's do it. Like, I think he's just going to shut everything down immediately, just take knees and stuff like that because he just doesn't care for it. They talked about how the Miami Dolphins are the first offense since one of the former St. Louis Rams teams were like one of the most dominant offenses through the first 5 weeks, and he's like, "Woohoo! Mission accomplished!" Like really sarcastically, like that's not the Dolphins' goal, but I like what I'm seeing from them. That just to be short and simple. Chris, what do we got here?
Oh yeah, we got the Colts going to Duval County down in Jacksonville.
Duval.
I think this is another easy one. Richardson's out. Most likely, he's been banged up all year. So Gardner Minshew is going to start, who is an ex-Jacksonville Jaguars. So I think this game is going to be fun to watch. He seems like the type of player that wants to get back at like his old team. You know, you didn't believe in me type of guy. Like, you ever seen Invincible with Mark Wahlberg? He reminds me a lot of that kind of character.
Vince Papale.
Vince Papale. There
Shout
we go.
out.
Shout out.
Shout out to Dick Vermeil.
Yeah, I'm taking the Jags at home. Shout out to Duval County. I'll wave the flag one more. Oh, it's upside down one more time. But yeah, let's go with the Jags here.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Jaguars as well. But like you mentioned, that Gardner Minshew revenge aspect is going to be very interesting to see. It's unfortunate what's going on with Anthony Richardson right now. He had a concussion. He was out for a game, if not a game and a half, if I'm not mistaken, and then came back and then sprained his AC joint. And no timetable yet as far as we're recording right now. No timetable on his return, but it didn't look good. He looked in like really agonized, and like his shoulder was like down the whole time he was heading back to the locker room. So not a good look for the Colts, especially when you just got Jonathan Taylor back. You thought things were going to go on a good roll. They ended up getting the win and closing out that game against the Titans. But at the end of the day, this Jacksonville Jaguars team took down a giant in the Buffalo Bills last week. And I don't think a team like the Indianapolis Colts without Anthony Richardson there is going to be a big factor. But I do like what I see from Gardner Minshew. And in the offense, he had a year with Shane Steichen before in Philly. So he's familiar with the system and he has good control of that offense, which I like a lot.
Will this be the game that Jonathan Taylor has his coming back party for the Colts? I hope so. I'm a big fan of JT's, but I'm not rocking with the Colts. I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm also a very big fan of Trevor Lawrence's as well. I'm going with the stomach on this one. I know I shouldn't have said it before. He's a Waffle House guy, so am I. I'm going with Jacksonville.
Here we go. Minnesota Vikings going to the Chicago Bears. Hey, we got a huge win on Thursday Night Football. We've had a lot of rest. Justin Jefferson is out. So if I'm a fantasy guy, Jordan Addison at KJ Osborne are must starts. If you're not starting Hawkinson, what are you doing anyways? But start him if you're not. I'm still rocking with the boys at home. We had a historically good game ourselves, which isn't saying much offensively. DJ Moore did amazing on my bench last week, which was just a slip up on my part. Forgot to change it at work. But anyways, we looked really good. The defense sucks, but we have a couple guys on defense coming back. I think Kendall Fuller, DB's coming back, which is like a desperate need that we have right now. So maybe we'll look slightly better. And we actually got a couple sacks, which we haven't been doing all year. So, and Kirk Cousins is one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. So hopefully we can get after him and get a win.
I'm hoping for a tie here. All I got to say is the Chicago Bears had a really good game last week. I do own DJ Moore in 2 fantasy leagues. I started him in 1, and I'm very happy I did. I think that the Chicago Bears have a very strong chance of winning this football game, but I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. Even though they don't have Justin Jefferson, I don't know. I just got to go with the Minnesota Vikings. They are still, at whole, a decent football team. I do think Jordan Addison is going to have a good game. I do think KJ Osborne is going to be involved a lot more. And you will see an increased amount of Alexander Madison.
Yeah, I am just – I'm so unsure what to do here. I am going to announce that I'm lifting my self-imposed ban on not picking the Bears. That's why I updated their logos to the most current primary logo.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. I'm not saying I'm picking them this week, but I'm not saying I'm not. I'm not entirely sure. This Justin Jefferson injury is a big factor on whether or not I think this Vikings team will win or lose this game. I loved what I saw from the Bears last week, but it was a DJ Moore show. It wasn't the Chicago Bears beating the Washington Commanders. It was pretty much purely DJ Moore. And does he replicate that against the Minnesota Vikings? He could. The rushing defense for the Minnesota Vikings is probably one of the better ones in the NFL, but their passing offense is absolutely abysmal. So that is something to look out for if you are a fantasy owner of DJ Moore or probably Cole Kmet. I don't know who else. Probably Darnell Mooney, but he hasn't done much all season long. If you own him in fantasy, yeah. I don't know what you're doing, honestly.
Well, I do too, and I can tell you that he had 0 points last week. So
yeah, I saw it there.
But Devontae Foreman is probably going to come back for the Bears, hopefully this week. He's like our, what do they call it, the break glass in case of emergency running back today. Yeah. So hopefully he comes back. He'll be a good fantasy start, I think, because we're going to still try to run the ball for at least a little bit.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Like, any NFL team would be out of their mind to not attempt to run the ball, even how bad their running game may be. I'm gonna rock with the Bears, but I'm not too certain about it. Given the injury to Justin Jefferson, the Vikings haven't been impressive all year. So you take out one of their best players, and it's not a good recipe for winning. But Joey, take us to this next game.
All right, we got the New Orleans Saints traveling to Houston to face off against the Texans. Texans took an L last week, but they look pretty good overall. Like what I see out of C.J. Stroud so far. I said that last week. I did like what I saw out of him, even in a loss. This is a tough game to pick, man. New Orleans looked really good against New England last week. They waxed them. I mean, they didn't even allow a single point on the board. I think I'm going to go with the Texans here just because I've seen New Orleans be so hot and cold this year, and the Houston Texans are just that young, kind of question marky kind of team.
Yeah, I relate to Saints dominated the Patriots, which is lovely to see. And the Texans, they're one of those teams that when you pick them and they win, you feel really good about yourself. But when you pick them and they lose, you feel really shitty about yourself. They're a young developing team. They have a lot of potential. Are they going to win a lot of games this season? Not entirely so, but they're going to be competitive and they're going to be fighting tooth and nail throughout the entire game. But this Saints team, I think, with Jameis Winston at the helm, is another one of those make or break teams. He can either flush away the entire game or he can win the Saints a game like he did this previous week by scoring 30-plus points without their defense allowing a single point. So that'll be interesting to see. With that being said, though, I'm going to rock with the Saints. I think they are overall the better team here, but I would not be surprised if the Houston Texans come out on top.
Well, Derek Carr played last week, and
yeah.
He's not hurt. I mean, he's hurt. He's a little banged up, but he played last week, so I think he's going to play again this week. I'm going to take the Saints on the road. Saints have a top 5 defense. I think that'll make a young rookie quarterback struggle. This might be one of them trap games or one of them really bad first-year games where you see him maybe throw a couple picks. But that's hard to say because he hasn't thrown one all year. But I'm going to take the Saints on the road. Not super confident in it because I do like Houston this year so far. But I'm rocking with Nola, baby.
Nice. Who we got next?
Next game, we got Seattle at Cincy. This one was a tough one for me just because Cincy struggled. I mean, they beat the Cardinals last week, and Jamar Chase went nuts for me in fantasy, which was like finally, basically, because he's not been that great all year long. And Seattle's been kind of up and down. I'm going to take the home team in this one in Cincy. And, you know, they've always started off pretty slow to start the year. I think this is a rebound game for them. Seattle is coming off of a bye, so that's definitely going to help. But I'm going with the home team, Joe Burrow and Cincy.
Yeah, I have a hard time going with the Cincinnati Bengals, even though I do love them and I love Skyline Chili. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks here. They're 3-1. I kind of like what they got going on so far. I like their weapons. Their defense is pretty underrated. Cincinnati, they had a great game last week. They took off offensively. If you had anybody in fantasy, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, if you played them, you probably are like, hey, the Cincinnati Bengals are back. I'm not very much convinced. The Arizona Cardinals aren't a very good team. I'm not sold. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks.
My biggest question is, what is the status of Geno Smith's health? No big news has come out lately. Last that we've heard of, he's been questionable. So I'm going to rock with that for now, and I'm going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals. But should Geno be healthy and ready to play, I may lean towards Seattle, but it's more so of a game-time decision on that, whether or not Geno Smith can play. And it'll be something interesting to follow because he suffered a little ankle injury. He was able to come back into the game against the Giants in Week 4. But, you know, bye week in between must have been very helpful, and let's hope that's the case because if is the case, I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks, but only time will tell on that one. But let's move on to the San Francisco 49ers versus the Cleveland Browns. We got two back-to-back NFC West teams heading east to play AFC North teams. So that's something a little interesting you don't see all the time. Plain and simple, going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. Dominant team. Deshaun Watson's health is in question. He was a healthy scratch, essentially, in Week 4, and then they had a Week 5 bye. So that's just something to follow. I don't think he makes a huge difference here. I think the San Francisco team is just one of the best teams in the entire NFL, offensively and defensively. And I'm really waiting to see which team is going to give him a challenge because I know damn sure the Cowboys didn't.
Well, I know damn sure it ain't going to be the Cleveland Browns. I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. Christian McCaffrey might win MVP as a freaking running back. Haven't seen that in a long time. Don't have the stat pulled up, can't pull it up when, but I'm sure the stat nerds out there can Google it. I'm telling you, Christian McCaffrey is definitely in the running. Don't know anybody else who has been dominant thus far like CMC. Going with the 49ers. Man, they look good.
Dude, the last running back to win MVPs in your division, I'm
Was
sure.
it Adrian Peterson, right?
Yep.
Okay, with 2012. Okay, I knew it, but I'm not off the top of my head.
I know.
Who cares?
He might. I don't know. He might. I'm surprised Kittle didn't get a little slap on the wrist for that T-shirt. I haven't seen anything on that yet. Give me San Fran. I think it's an easy pick. Even though it's on the road, they're traveling kind of far, but like you mentioned, Deshaun's health is in question with a rotator cuff injury, which kind of worries me because that's not a good injury for somebody that throws something. Let me get San Fran. Even if Deshaun plays, I think they win.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, let's keep it moving. We have the Washington Commanders versus the Atlanta Falcons. I really loved what I saw from Washington last week, given they didn't perform the very best. But this Atlanta Falcons team is a wild card of a team to kind of follow and kind of understand how they work. You can definitely know that Bijan Robinson is the main catalyst of that offense, and I'm going to say that each and every week and pound the drum on that because he's the engine that makes that offense go for the very least. Jesse Bates, who was such a huge signing for them in the defensive side in the offseason, so this one's tough. I think I'm going to ride with the Falcons. I think this is one of my first times picking them all year. So let's see the Falcons fly.
I'm gonna go opposite. Even though I agree with what you said, though Washington had some promising moments, even though they lost to the Bears. But yeah, let me get Washington, even though they're on the road. Bijan Robinson is Bijan Robinson is a huge part of that team, and he didn't have a very good game last week, and they lost. I believe, or they barely won, one of the two. But anyways, let me get Washington on the road. I like what I saw from Sam Howell. He has some fight left in him.
Sam Howell, just picked him up in fantasy. Been pretty decent so far. The Commanders didn't have a great game against the Bears. Sam Howell looked pretty good. I think I'm going to rock with the Commanders here. I do like what I've seen from the Atlanta Falcons so far. I heard rumors that everybody's trying to say that they should trade for a quarterback if anybody's going to trade Kirk Cousins, or if any quarterback is becoming available at the trade deadline, Atlanta should be first in line along with the New York Jets. I mean, I think Desmond Ridder is decent, but I don't think he's going to be enough to win them playoff games or past that. So if they're looking to do that, because I think that their team is in place to potentially, they might be one quarterback away from being an impactful NFC playoff team. If they were to do that, then we might be thinking about the Atlanta Falcons here differently. But as of right now, I'm rolling with the Washington Commanders, and both teams will be 3-3 by the end of this game. So then, my bad. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So the next game, we got the New England Patriots and the Las Vegas Raiders, who just kicked my Green Bay Packers' ass. Listen, I think I'm going to go with the Raiders here. The New England Patriots have looked abysmal so far. They haven't even scored a touchdown, I think, in the last 2 weeks. I know they've gotten outscored by like more than 60 points. Something ridiculous number. They just got the floor mopped by the New Orleans Saints. So I'm going with the Raiders here. I think the Raiders have an easy schedule here coming up, and they might be a sneaky AFC wildcard team.
I thought the same exact thing when I saw the Raiders schedule following. Like, they showed, like, both of you guys' schedules following the Monday night matchup, and the Raiders had one of the easiest schedules. You saw their opponents through 5 weeks. It was literally everyone was like 1-4, 1-3, and that included the Bears. Sorry, no shade there, but the schedule looked a lot easy, and one of the biggest opponents there obviously was Kansas City. But aside from that, everyone else looked like something that could propel this Raiders team into quite the run. And Josh McDaniel is gonna literally somehow outcoach Bill Belichick, you think, or is Belichick gonna be the master here and shut him down?
This is the worst stretch of football of Belichick's career by stat wise and by losses, and they're on the verge of just kicking Mac Jones off the team. I feel like at any point, he's probably gonna get benched during this game too. I'm going with the Raiders, even though Devontae Adams looked like he's not fully healthy in the win against the Packers. Josh Jacobs did look good. Garoppolo did not. He's thrown a lot of picks this year. I think he has like 7 or 8 on the year so far. But that being said, Judon is the best player on defense for New England, and he's out for a while. This New England team, I mean, this is what happens. You're in these years now, so get used to it. It sucks, but you had Brady and you won a lot. So,
I saw the funniest TikTok from Barstool about how the Patriots dynasty basically came to be and how it correlated to 9/11, and it was quite wild and interesting how they compared it and lined it up. I'm not going to repeat anything, but it was definitely pretty shocking. But Chris, take us to this next game.
Jeez. All right, we got the Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. I'm taking the Rams at home. Cooper Kupp came back and looked amazing. The Rams obviously don't care about their offense, and they think it's in a good place because they just traded Van Jefferson for basically nickels on the dollar, pretty much nothing. I think Arizona's trying to tank and trying to lose because they probably want a shot at the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Rams at home, I think, hopefully, is an easy pick here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams as well. I think they're obviously the better team. The Cardinals have been one of those surprising teams because you thought they were just going to flat out tank. and that was my speculation that they're pretty much done with Kyler Murray, and you're never going to see him play another down for the Arizona Cardinals. But with the way they've been playing as of late, the door's slightly opening up on my take, and it's not very best at this moment. But yeah, James Conner is dealing with an injury, uncertain for what his return is going to be. So I'm gonna rock with the Los Angeles Rams. That trade was a little bit of a head scratcher for me with Van Jefferson leaving, but I understand. There's one football, and you have two target happy receivers, I guess you can say, target demanding receivers. So it's going to be interesting how that offense works out between the two. But Cooper Kupp had an instant comeback, and it looked like he never left.
Yeah, I'm going to rock with the Rams here, too. Listen, Matthew Stafford has been okay thus far this season. Not quite what he has been during that Super Bowl run. But I am really excited to see what they're going to do when Cooper Kupp gets a little bit more comfortable in this offense, especially with Puka Nacua being as explosive, as fantastic as he has been thus far this season. I'm rocking with the Rams easily here. Arizona is probably one of the worst teams in the league and in running for the number 1 overall pick when it's all said and done, more than likely.
Facts. All right, who we got next, Joey?
All right, I got the Detroit Lions traveling to Tampa Bay to face off against the Buccaneers. My boy Baker Mayfield has been incredible with the Buccaneers thus far. But the Detroit Lions look legit. They look for real, they look mean, and they look like they're going to freaking be a scary playoff team. I think I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions here. They're nothing to play with. But neither are the Buccaneers. Expect this game to be close.
Yeah, would you say that they're going to bite the Pirates' kneecaps off and make them peg legged?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, they probably will.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be debuting their creamsicle unis once again, which is if one of us picks the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I do agree with Joey. I think this Lions team is legit. They're currently favored on the road, and I don't blame the odds makers for that. I think the Lions has something interesting brewing there. Does anyone know anything about the status of Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I know nothing.
Nothing.
He's still questionable.
Okay.
Amon-Ra is still questionable,
Okay.
so he's more than likely probably going to miss, I think.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't been practicing. But the Lions have lost both their starting safeties this year. Sad to see Mosley go down. He got lost last year, got hurt last year, lost the whole season, tore his ACL in one leg, and then came back this year, tore the ACL in the other leg. I'm going to go with the surprising pick here and take Tampa at home. It would be nice to see Detroit, a divisional team, lose, and hopefully the Bears get a win. Jahmyr Gibbs is also... Oh, that's a cool pick.
Yeah, we finally get to use it.
Jahmyr Gibbs is also questionable. He's a little banged up. David Montgomery has looked like Barry Sanders, basically, to start the year. So I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit came in and got a win. But the Bucs are coming off a bye, so I have a good feeling about them.
Technically, he looks like Jamal Williams. Because didn't Jamal Williams look like Barry Sanders before that? Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't make that correlation, but I would say though, like they're using him very similar to how they used Jamal Williams last year.
Oh yeah,
and pretty much, hey, once we're within the 20, it's all yours. Like, and even going down the field is pretty much David Montgomery, but like they're looking good. They're looking good. There was one thing I wanted to add, but it slipped my. Oh, his injury happened on week 5 last year. And it happened again on week 5 this year, which is so unfortunate. So unfortunate. It really does suck. But anyways, we have the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Jets. I'm not going to waste anyone's time here. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's see how many tush pushes happen in this game, the brotherly shove, whatever else you want to call it. It's going to be interesting to see. They tried banning that play in the offseason, and didn't work out for them, and now everyone's still trying to call for it and try to get it banned, which it's football, guys. If you can't stop it, then that's your problem. But, like, I would be upset if it happened to my team too, probably, but at the end of the day, they run it well, and you've seen other teams try to replicate it, and they haven't run it well, so there's no reason for it to ban. If it was just absurdly overpowered play that every team was converting very well on, then fine. But that's not the case.
Yeah, man. This is a pretty easy game to pick. Philadelphia has been one of the best teams in the NFL. One of two only undefeated teams, along with the 49ers, who I think it's going to be 49ers-Eagles NFC Championship game. The Eagles haven't looked as explosive, as dominant offensively as they did last year on their way to the Super Bowl, but I still love what they're doing. The Jets are the Jets right now. Unfortunately for Jet fans, it kind of sucks for you guys. Zach Wilson is Zach Wilson. It's just like it was last year, and you had high hopes, and now it sucks. But you're not beating the Eagles. You have never beat them in your entire franchise's history, and it's not happening on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Philly, too. Philly, it's hard to say that they're going to go 6-0, but I don't think they're going to lose this week, especially to the Jets, who scored most of their points, I think, on defense last week. So Zach Wilson didn't throw a single touchdown, threw an interception, I know that. But I'm going with the Eagles. They're top 2 offense in the league right now, despite not looking super flashy, but they're getting it done. And yeah, they're the way better team. I think, like you mentioned, the 2 top teams are very obvious in the league. So I think we're going to eventually see them clash in the playoffs.
For sure. All right, Joey, take us to Sunday Night Football.
All right, we got 2 New York teams. Actually, let me rephrase. We got a New Jersey team facing off against a New York team, the only New York team in the NFL. We got the New York Giants, who aren't actually in New York. They play in New Jersey, traveling to New York, to Buffalo, New York, upstate, to face off against the Buffalo Bills. As much as I really want to pick the Giants, I do have family members that are Giant fans, yada, yada, yada. The Bills are going to kick their ass. Let's go with the Bills and make it easy for everyone.
Yeah, let me not slow you guys down. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills as well. Upsetting loss for them in London last week to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But Daniel Jones, his health is uncertain. They were saying today that he is possibly going to be able to play. But if I'm the Giants, I'm either kind of like reassessing what we did in the offseason in terms of re-signing him, or, trying to shut him down and protect him from himself, because this offensive line cannot protect him for Jack Diddley squat. And, yeah, this Buffalo Bills team, big bounce-back game on Sunday Night Football at home, so interesting to watch.
Yeah, the Bills need to win this one as far as I'm concerned. Their division's pretty tight, and they definitely need another division win here. They are coming back from London, but like I mentioned last week, it's got to be one of the shorter flights to London in the league. Let me get Bills at home. Like you said, Daniel Jones' health is in question, but is he that much better than Tyrod Taylor, who's the backup? I don't really know. They're just
still going to get hit 11 times a game.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But, yeah, the Bills need a big bounce-back game. And they got a little bit more time to rest since it's at 8:20 at night. Going with Buffalo at home.
All right, who we got for Monday Night Football?
Monday Night Football is the Dallas Cowboys against the Los Angeles Chargers. Dak looks really bad. Dak is whack right now. I don't know what else to say. Chargers are getting one of the best offensive weapons in the game back. He's 99% sure he's going to play. That's Austin Eckler. Let me get the Chargers at home on Monday Night Football.
Or you can just say it like, Dak is ass. As, a certain NFL analyst would have said, shout out. You know what I'm talking about. Listen, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers here. I am very excited for Austin Eckler to return. I have him in fantasy. I have Justin Herbert in fantasy. Dallas looks like shit. Let's just call it how it is. I don't know what else to say. They suck. They're 3-2, but they've had some cupcake-ish wins, and their loss was against the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers, which is one of the worst teams in the league and the best team in the league. So it's really hard to judge this Dallas Cowboys team, but I'm going with the Chargers.
I will counter you both, and I will go with the Dallas Cowboys. it's unfortunate what happened to them in San Fran last week. I do think they're one of the overall better teams in the NFL as long as their defense can limit an offense. And it might be a tough task doing that to this Los Angeles Chargers team, especially with Austin Eckler coming back. But I do think that's another factor of, hey, like it might not run as smoothly and he's not going to get as many touches or be as much of an impact. I think this Cowboys secondary can limit the receivers for the Los Angeles Chargers. But it's all going to come down to Dak and that Cowboys offense. They're not looking like what they were last year with the two-headed monster of Zeke and Tony Pollard. And then on top of that, the passing game is just not there. So Dak needs to wake up or the Cowboys are going to be in serious trouble for the remainder of the season because their season does not get any easier. And, it's just not looking good for the Cowboys. Not at all. And that will conclude Week 6 of NFL Game Picks. Really quick, let's talk about the teams on bye. We got a little preview with Joey. We'll get to his team in a second, but it's the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh had a big comeback win against the Baltimore Ravens, and it was pretty much at the hands of Kenny Pickett, his little mitts that he has, and his big audible to George Pickens saying, Randy, 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 and then deep ball to George Pickens, which was probably one of their biggest and only offensive plays of the game. It was all defense for them last week against Baltimore Ravens. And then let's take it to Joey for a little recap on the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, we looked like crap against the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't really know what else to say. I don't know where we kind of go from here. Defensively, we looked pretty decent. Man, this is just tough. I really don't know what to say for this Green Bay Packers team going forward. Offensively, Jordan Love probably had his worst game ever as a pro. This is tough. This is tough going forward. We got to take it one game at a time and really see what happens. If we had 10 days to prepare for this game and we looked like crap against the Raiders, I don't really think this bye week is going to do much but help us out with injuries. Matt LaFleur needs to game plan more better, and Jordan Love needs to play better. The whole team needs to play better. This is just really embarrassing.
Agreed.
Yeah, big division game for us at home. I think we need to come out aggressive on both sides of the ball, get after Cousins on defense, and hopefully move the ball on offense early and hopefully not lose a bunch of guys on offense this week. Hopefully Fields can spread the love a little bit more. It'd be nice to see Mooney get a couple grabs, but as long as we get a win at home, that's all that matters because we won't be in last anymore, and the Vikings will hold that spot. So hopefully we can get a win and get after Cousins is key, I think.
And last but not least, Dolphins host the Panthers this week. So interesting to see if the Dolphins can remain balanced on offense, even with Devon Achane going out. Jeff Wilson might return. So nice little punch in the backfield if that's the case. But aside from that, I think the Dolphins have a good chance to continue winning and pushing forward throughout the season. But with that being said, I want to say that is the close for Week 6 of NFL Game Picks. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.